As promised, here is a brief look of some of my video games that I've amassed over the years. We'll go in classic tradition, starting with the NES. Now, I'm sure there are people out there with much more impressive collections than I have, but I've just had these for so long, I've been kind of attached to them, can't get rid of them. I wish I could play them easier. But we will go through them kind of one by one quickly. Now we got 1943. It's an airplane, asteroid type shooter game. It was originally an arcade game with a bit better graphics, but as we all know, once you import a video game to a console, you kind of lose some of those graphics. I mean, coming from an arcade anyway. You got Arch Rivals, kind of a standard basketball game. I didn't play it a whole lot, so I don't have a whole lot to say on it at the moment. But we'll do a small review on it, of course. Astyanax is one that I mentioned earlier. It is a great game about a young man who gets sucked into a different dimension of sorts and has to rescue a fairy and save the world, as they all do. But once I do a review on that, I'll give you more information. Batman Returns, probably enough said, but we'll do a review, of course. Bionic Commando, I played a little bit, wasn't too into it, but maybe once I start checking it out more, maybe I'll get a little more excited about it, but we'll see. Blaster Master, a great side-scrolling game, many levels, lots of challenges, some great bosses to defeat and power-ups to collect. I highly recommend playing it. It's one I've never beat, so when I go to do the review, we'll see what happens. Bump and Jump, another one I didn't play a whole lot of, kind of like a little dune buggy racing game. I'll give you more information on that once I start playing it again. Simon's Quest, Castlevania. This game has a lot of mixed reviews from what I've heard over the years. I personally was a big fan, but the game is so very cryptid, if you will. The clues and things are kind of hard to follow, so it's one I've never beaten, but I have seen the end of it watching other YouTubers do reviews on it, which I will link to one specific video from another YouTuber. Chiller. This is a very rare one that, at least that I'm aware of. You can use the zapper in this one, or you can also use the remote. It's like a forward-facing shooter game with multiple different levels. You have to shoot certain areas of the screen to reveal certain talismans, and you have to collect these talismans as you go to progress through the game. Conflict, a war-based game, not one I played a whole lot of. Kind of reminds me of Risk a little bit, if I remember the game correctly. Darkwing Duck, great game, pretty difficult but super fun. It's another side-scrolling shooting game involving one of our all-time older favorite Disney characters, Darkwing Duck. The Legend, Double Dragon. Another one that I've never beat, but I've came severely close to it. Side-scrolling fighting game. I think everybody probably knows this game, so I won't expound on it too much here. Now coming back. Double Dribble. Probably a very popular game as far as basketball games on the NES goes. I feel like I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and it was featured in Family Guy as well. Dragon Warrior 2. Great game if you like role-playing game, Final Fantasy type stuff. I liked it, I enjoyed it. I haven't beat it, unfortunately, but it's one I would love to see a conclusion for. So maybe once I do its review, I'll be able to power through the whole game and just beat it and feel like I've completed something from my childhood that I've left unfinished. Dr. Mario. Similar to Tetris, but it has its own quirks. Another great game. My mom was a master at this game. She did really good. I have never been quite as good, but I still love playing it. Gyrus. Another asteroid, well, not really asteroid, but another space flying shooting game. If I remember, this one goes from left to right. Many other games have been made similar to it and probably prior to it, but we'll see how it fares during its review. Akari Warriors. Now, this one has been around obviously for a long time. There's been many other types of games made based off of it and its style. Also not one that I've ever completed fully, but we'll see what happens. Kind of a pain, but there's a cool cheat code from what I've heard where you can start where you died from. I'll have to look into that. Kung Fu. It was an officially licensed Nintendo game with its seal of approval. It's not bad, but if you want to have like a great epic weekend, don't plan your weekend around it from what I remember. But I'm not saying it's bad. Jack Nicholson Golf. Not too shabby, didn't play it a whole lot. I feel like there's probably some other better golf games out there from its era. But I wasn't into sports too much as a kid, so it's not one I played a whole lot. Legacy of the Wizard. Now this one, I tried beating so many times. It's a side-scrolling, and you can go up and down. You can choose between multiple different characters. And it's kind of hard to follow the story. It's one you gotta play. Kind of sit down and play it till you beat it. Because if you try to come back after not playing it for a week, you're probably going to forget where you're at, what you were supposed to be doing, why you're even where you are. It's a pretty expansive world in this game, so it's easy to get lost and forget what you're supposed to be doing. Major League Baseball. Another one of the more popular sports games. This one I did like playing. Didn't play a whole lot, because again, not too huge into sports, but it was fun, it was simple. Very basic blocky characters, but if you want to sit down and play against your sibling and prove that you're better than them, this is one to do it with. The original Metal Gear. Now this is the only one I've played except for the one on the PlayStation. The original one on the PlayStation. I didn't get too far into it, because just kind of wasn't into it at that time. But when I discovered this, I did play it quite a bit. Still haven't ever beat it, but definitely fun. But this one is, well, just like all Metal Gear, very strategic. You gotta be quiet. You gotta know what you're doing. Mickey Mouse Capades. This one, you wouldn't think, especially being an adult, that it would be that fun. But it really is. I go back to it and play it on my emulators from time to time. It's very challenging, very fun. The levels are very different, and there's a boss at the end of each level. Your only weapon is like this throwing star, or a star wand. That sounds better. Mickey and Minnie are both on screen, but Minnie will mirror Mickey's movements, so it's nice to have him there, have her there, but not completely usable. Football. Similar to the other sports games I showed. Kind of blocky, kind of basic, but a lot of good nostalgic childhood memories from playing this game. No, I don't know who Sid is. I had this thing in my possession for over 20 years. Yeah, I've kind of forgotten, but still totally fun. Cycling back. The Legend Ninja Gaiden 2 specifically. Of course, one I've never beaten. Gotten fairly far into it. But after you die 400 times, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna give up for now. And I have seen the ending of it, and I hear it's incredibly difficult to beat the ending. But, like most people who play video games and things like this, you love a great challenge. When I go to review this, I will do my best to destroy it. Punch Out. Not Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Unfortunately, we didn't get this copy till after his contract was over, so the only thing missing is Mike Tyson himself, and he's replaced with a different final character to fight. Still the same mechanics, still all the same characters, minus Tyson, of course. If you haven't played this one, or if you played the other one, still always great to go back to. It is aged very well. So I decided to split this video into 2 parts to make it easier to take it all in. So if you guys need to take a break and come back and watch the second part later, should make it a little easier there. Thank you if you watched it, made it all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the followers I've gotten so far, and I hope to continue growing the channel and getting more followers and subscribers and likes and views, and I'm gonna work on getting the second part uploaded here. It's all finished. I just wanted to chop it in half, make it a little easier to digest, I guess you could say. But thank you, everybody. Love you guys. See ya.